In the radio days, I started, I did everything from classic country to top 40 to heavy metal to kids radio. I went from introducing Metallica and Slayer and all that to a few months later introducing Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Weird Al. That was quite the change. And I was working for Radio Disney when I heard about open auditions for Dragon Ball Z. So my radio career kind of turned into the radio / voiceover is a great career for you. Because it'll actually end up building confidence so you can do public speaking and not have an issue with it. So I feel like I grew a lot by getting involved in my radio career. But working in radio is nothing I would recommend to people now, especially because the internet and MP3 and streaming and all that stuff. It's like, unless you're, Howard Stern or some big talk show host, there's really no money to be made there. The people that do work, even on Sirius XM, a lot of them pre-record their DJ intros. How crazy is that? They have to act and sit and have to pretend like it's in real time. They have to start their break by saying, Metallica, that's a great new one from them, and then here's the weather, and now here's the latest from so-and-so on FM, Pause. And then they upload it into basically a digital jukebox. It's all automated. But back in the day, DJs had to do this little kind of dance, loading up the next few elements. The commercials are ready to go. The next 4 songs are ready to go. And then you're recording callers who call on the request line. Hey, I want to hear so-and-so. All right. And I have to edit that down and take out all the, can you hear me? Hello? Is this thing on? I want to edit all that out. And before we could do it with computers, which are instantaneous, we did it on reel-to-reel tape. Tape! We recorded the phone call, and then you have to take a grease pencil and mark the beginning point and go to the end point, and then slice it with a little razor blade and put tape over the top. That's what people do. Projectionists in movie theaters do that. Not now, because it's all digital. But a handful of actual film theaters do that. They splice together reels of a movie into one long thing. The IMAX print of Oppenheimer was like 300 pounds. You ever see a picture of it? It's like ludicrously huge. And the art of being a projectionist is something kind of a lost art. Be able to thread that film through all these different little things so it'll play smooth. Same sort of thing with reel-to-reel tape and the people calling the request line. And I started in radio as an intern, as most people do in sort of the entertainment side of things. You start working for free, or in the case in Texas, you work for school credit. So I applied for an internship for school credit through the University of North Texas. I used to live in Dallas, and the University of North Texas in Denton, about an hour outside of Dallas. So I sought out the internship at a radio network where I stayed for 13 years. And I had job security. I went from doing menial things like picking up, picking music to play for the next hour, which is actually pre-programmed. Another thing about, what? This is how radio works? Yeah, it's not all freeform. It's all programmed. It's all plotted out. Something called a music log shows you what songs are played. And some of them you're repeating every other hour, some of the half hour, all that, depending on what it is. And there may be one opportunity an hour for the DJ to actually have a little flexibility and play something that the caller wants to hear. If you've ever wanted to know, how come the DJ can get the song on as soon as the caller requests it? It makes it sound like, I want to hear Taylor Swift, and suddenly the song starts, because the call's pre-recorded. They're able to play it out, and they can. The music log actually shows how many seconds in each song until the singer starts singing. So they could talk all the way up to when she starts singing. That's called hitting the post. And that just sounds cool. It's annoying for some people because you're like, I'm trying to record the song, quit talking. It's back in the 70s and 80s. If you wanted to record a song off the radio, unfortunately you have to hear the DJ talk over the intro and you're like, man, he's ruining the song. But radio has to be kind of fast-paced, and they don't like dead air. When nothing's playing, that's bad. That gets people fired. It's like, this is supposed to play the next song. The commercial's supposed to play. How come it's not playing? Behind the scenes, someone's probably freaking out and calling the hotline, the bat phone, basically, in the studio, going, how come there's dead air? Play something. That's happened from time to time. I think I almost fell asleep once on a shift. You don't want to do that either. That's not good. But hey, we're human, right? So the radio career was a ton of fun because it taught me confidence and the ability to do public speaking and feel better about organization. Because you have to be somewhat organized in your thoughts to be able to run a show. Because you've got your little mixing console, right? And it's got volume knobs, fader knobs for everything. Here's the mic, here's the CD1, CD2, CD3, or nowadays it's just all on computer, honestly. But the ballet I was talking about, the little dance that the DJ has to do, it's all in one big computer, just a digital jukebox, just playing the next element after the next element after the next element. Kind of like a playlist. Even all the commercials are in there. So, yeah, it's not as cool as it used to be. I grew up wanting to do these two things. I wanted to voice cartoons, and I wanted to be a DJ on the radio, because for some reason I was just fascinated by the idea of this larger-than-life voice talking to the people and answering the phone and playing the songs they wanted to hear and all that. And then once I saw what a radio station actually looks like, it's like, oh, that's kind of boring, kind of bland. It's not that cool, but I still wanted to do it. So I got that out of my system. I got the internship, which turned into a part-time job, which turned into a full-time job. Just stuck to it. So I just wanted to be on the radio, and I finally got that shot. And this was all at the radio network that I sought out the internship through. And I was doing, my personality on air depends on the format. Like classic country, it was this is, that was, very, very bland, straightforward. Honestly, it could have been AI at that point. But for Radio Disney and the heavy metal stuff, it was definitely personality driven, which is what I was about. So I was doing wacky things, like, just acting like, Jim Carrey or Robin Williams. Just let it loose on the air. Just a million tangents, ADD, squirrel, introduce the song. Play sound effects. Movie quotes, little clips from movies or TV shows. Of course, you got to hit the post, do all that wacky production leading up to the point when the singer starts. Did all that. And I used to tape all my shows on cassette. And I had years of my radio career on cassette, and now I don't know where any of it is. I think it's in storage somewhere in Dallas, maybe. Possibly. It's like, I could digitize it, but taking actual cassettes and digitizing them, you have to play them back in real time. There's no fast way to do that, unfortunately. With a computer file, you drag and drop, it's copied, it's done. But not so much with cassettes. Even burning a CD is faster. But who runs that anymore? Everyone's hard drive is, you don't have CD-ROM players or CD drives. They're always external drives. You have to do all that. I'm a physical media guy, but for a while it's like, I'm running out of room. So I get why streaming is popular. It's convenient. You just hit play on your phone, stream it to your car or whatnot. That is convenient. I love that. But sometimes you want a little higher quality. So I like collect vinyl albums. I like listening in fuller fidelity. I like the experience, and I kind of do like the little cracks and pops and putting the needle on the record and just listening the way the artist intended. Yes?
And another thing about physical media is you actually have ownership, whereas with streaming and downloads, you don't.
What's that now?
Physical media, you have ownership of something.
Yeah, you own it, yes.
Media, but the actual
Yeah,
it's on.
that's true. In streaming, if you buy a movie, if they yank it off the service, there's nothing you can do. You buy the DVD or the Blu-ray or the 4K or whatnot, you own that forever. So that's a perk because, yeah, it's a pain in the butt to go get it out of the disc and put it in your whatever, your player or your, what I use is my PS5. That's my 4K Blu-ray player. But even those don't play all the media. Like the old PlayStations, you could play CDs, you could play anything in there. But the newer ones, for whatever reason, they don't do music CDs, or do they? PlayStation 5s? I don't think they do actual audio CDs. It's like, well, that's annoying. I have hundreds of CDs. Many of them I got for free back when I was a DJ. I get free promo copies. That was awesome. They'd have a little hole punched in the case, or sometimes on record there'd be a hole in the corner and say, for promo use only. That stuff, legally you couldn't sell them. But, you go to those buy, sell, trade video stores or music stores, they bought them, they gave you money for it. Not a lot, but you could do that. So I'd get promo copies of albums, knowing I was never going to listen to them. It's like, I could get a whole $3 for this. Woo! Add up. I'm going to trade 6 things. Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought he was going to talk about being a club DJ. No, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, we got something somewhere else.
Okay, it's all good, man. I'm just giving you grief. I wondered that when I didn't title this panel. They just said, what do you want to talk about? I was like, I don't know. You're a DJ before, right? Like, yeah. It's like, why don't you make that one of the panels? I'm like, okay. Didn't say radio DJ on the name of the panel, though. So people are going to probably think, are you like Dead Mouse? Skrillex? Yeah, I can make everything sound like a fax machine dying. So crazy. Anyone have any questions about the radio thing? Yes.
If you had the opportunity to go back to that, I mean, from I guess a certain amount of time, whatever, if you had free reign, would you possibly do that?
I did a few years ago. I did a couple shifts, airports, but again, it had to be pre-recorded for a metal streaming station called Gimme Metal, Gimme Radio or something. Like, give it to me, Gimme Radio. And now they're just like a vinyl club thing, because streaming costs a lot of money. You got to pay royalties for all the musicians. They're not, having a record deal is not the same thing as, it doesn't mean the same thing now as it did in the 70s and 80s. You could actually make money selling albums. Now, people just rip it, pirate it, stream it. And the streams, if you look at, they get 0.00003% of a 1 cent per stream. So unless you're Taylor Swift, you're really not going to make a living as a musician. So your tour, right? It's like you make money on the tour, the ticket sales. No, you make money on the merch. That's why, you want to buy a concert shirt. Yeah, it's going to cost $50 nowadays. Why? Because the band's hardly making anything. Because they got to split so much revenue with the building, the venue, and this, that, and the others. At the end of the day, $1 million for this one show, but split up, and suddenly, how much money did this band actually make per member? Not a lot. Unless they sold a lot of shirts or whatever, hoodies, caps, pins, whatever wacky thing they come up with. I probably went off on a tangent. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
I forgot what you asked.
I forgot too.
Okay, awesome. Squirrel. Yeah. Radio also never made a lot of money. DJs were never well paid. Yeah, they got the cool hookups. They got free copies of albums. They got free concert tickets. So I did get to see a lot of concerts for free. That was nice. Metallica. Rush is one of my all-time favorite bands. I saw them, but I think I ended up having to pay for all those tickets. Oh well. Movie tickets. Saw some things. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. And the movie was terrible. It's like, glad I didn't pay for that. Whew. But, yeah. I had hair back then. When I was a rock DJ, I had a mullet. There was a time in pop culture history when people thought mullets were cool.
Yeah, they're in again, back again.
Mullets are back in?
Yeah, they are.
Like my character Isaac had a mullet in Bleach at one point. It's like, well, that's a choice. That's an interesting choice. But yeah, important thing that a DJ would have to do is stay on the pulse of what's happening in music and pop culture. And, it helps if you're actually interested in that genre. Like I loved being a rock DJ, probably the most because I've always been a heavy metal, hard rock fan. So it's easy to keep tabs on all my favorite bands and stuff. But once I was working for Radio Disney, I had to follow boy bands and follow their stuff and like, okay, man. It's like we'd have to hear Macarena and All Star so many times in one shift, one on-air shift.
Probably feel like you're DJing like a middle school dance.
Yeah, so much Britney, so much NSYNC, so much. A lot of Weird Al, which initially was really cool, but you can hear the same song by anybody too many times and just want to pull your hair out. And again, I had hair at the time, so I was pulling it out. Stop growing back. But I really look back on my radio days as it's like I had so much fun because when I was on Radio Disney, I didn't necessarily care for the kind of songs I was playing, but I had a lot of freedom and creativity because I got to create character voices. Like I had a character voice that explained scientific concepts. We had these little features in between the songs, and one of them was called Aptitude Dude. So he's like a Bill and Ted surfer dude kind of thing. It's like, so Johnny wants to know, why is the sky blue? Okay, dude, it's like this. So that'd be my surfer dude. And then, at different things, we'd have little radio dramas. I'd play different characters in history, and we'd have a little thing about Elvis, so I was like, oh, Elvis Presley. It's just tons of fun. With accent, with production value, silly sound effects, and theater of the mind type things. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those weird science segments I still remember to this day is the one talking about earwax and whether or not you can make a candle out of enough earwax.
Oh yeah. I also had a feature that I wrote called Gross Me Out. Why is poop brown? All sorts of really disgusting things. Because the research shows that kids love fart jokes and gross out humor. So within the bound of, I guess there's a line you don't cross, but it's probably funny. It was like, do burps and farts. Like, okay, I did that. And working for Radio Disney, of course, we saw all the Disney movies early. So we saw Tarzan early, Mulan. Anyone remember Home on the Range?
Yes.
That killed the 2D department. But we saw Atlantis and Treasure Planet. Yeah. It's like they're remaking the wrong things, right?
Yes, they are.
Why don't you do Atlantis? Why don't you do Treasure Planet?
Because they already shot Treasure Planet to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of weird in a full circle, like circle of life. I'm working for Disney for their radio format. And then years later, Disney hires me to do Ryu on Wreck-It Ralph. It's a cameo, but I told the producers there, it's like, this is wild. I used to actually work for you guys. And they go, oh, I remember that. It's like, yeah. This has been my dream to do animated stuff. I love the loophole here. It's like, you get the voice of the video game characters. They totally could have stunt casted that with some big celebrity and spent millions of dollars, and I'm so glad they didn't.
Yes.
They actually got Roger Craig Smith, who's Sonic, and they had me and Ruben Langdon, the original Ken. So it's like, thank you guys, you get it. So that was really, really fun. It's like, I got to be on a Disney movie and I don't have to be a movie star. Because if you watch all those Pixar, DreamWorks, whatever, it's all the big celebrities that get all those roles. Because Hollywood seems to think that's the only reason families show up to those is because there's movie stars in them. I'm sorry, I don't understand that logic. I kind of get it for on camera, live action, okay, but the people that actually do this for a living, if you're talking about cutting costs and saving millions of dollars, we don't cost millions of dollars. The day rate to record on an animated movie is probably like $800 to $1,000 a day, which sounds like a lot of money, right? It's really not anymore, but
Especially in California.
especially in California. I live there because that's where the work is, but if I knew that I had job security, because now we can, since the pandemic, we can record from anywhere remotely, I would move away because there's just no reason to be hemorrhaging money for rent. My rent is almost $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Yeah, it's tough. So if people ever think about moving to the West Coast, get your roommates in order. Have 3 or 4 people, preferably. If you want to pay $500 or less in rent, you need roommates. And now since the pandemic slowed down, the studios are opening back up, but they want people to go back in. So I'm like, well, there's a lot of studios I haven't recorded for yet. So that's why I choose to stay there. I want to get some more stuff under my belt first, and then I might feel a little better about moving away and being able to record remotely from my little walk-in closet. Yeah.
You already answered. I was going to ask about if you had the opportunity to use your closet studio.
Oh yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, I've recorded entire sessions during the pandemic. Every anime you've watched, probably every game you played that was recorded then was done at every actor's individual home setup, which is great for us, and it's actually more work for the engineers because they have to treat the audio and make it all sound consistent. So it actually creates more workload for them, so they hate remote recording. But a lot of us love it because you don't have to be wearing clothes while you do it because you're not on camera. You could just fall out of bed and go in and record. You're not sitting in traffic. You just do your thing. It's awesome. But yeah, if I could go back into radio, I think that was your original question. It's like, I don't know. There's not enough hours in the day. I'm so busy lately between recording sessions, and I also direct mobile video games at night, 2 or 3 nights a week. And then every weekend for the past 3 months, I've been out of town. I go to cons a lot. I make more of a living doing cons than I do voiceover. I voice act on the side, which is great. I'm very, very grateful. I'm making a living doing this. But if you had asked me 20 years ago, what do I see happening in 2024? It's like, I have no idea. All I know is I want to voice cartoons. Meanwhile, I have a career of anime and video games. And I am not ashamed. I am very proud, and I am very grateful for those opportunities. Because when I was little, I just wanted to voice cartoons. The word anime didn't even exist then. I just want to be like Bugs Bunny or something. And then I grew up and learned about the world of anime and all that stuff. And suddenly this voiceover opportunity to be on the biggest show on Cartoon Network at the time, which I was already a fan of, Dragon Ball Z, and I'm a part of that. And so it changed my world. Akira Toriyama literally changed my life. I wish I had a chance to have met him. I never did, so rest in peace. The late, great Akira Toriyama. Chris Sabat and the folks at Funimation, which is now Crunchyroll, they believed in me. They liked my audition for Gohan, so I've been voicing him ever since. And that led to other opportunities like Yu Yu Hakusho, Full Metal Alchemist. And then I moved to LA, and Steve Bloom introduced me to the studio, so I got to be on Naruto and Bleach, and Street Fighter, and Gurren Lagann, and Seven Deadly Sins. And then all through the years, I've still maintained stuff with Crunchyroll, so I still did, the new Dragon Ball game, Sparking Zero. I worked on My Hero. I've worked on One Piece. Because my characters kind of come back and then they go away forever and then they come back again. It's like, oh man, I thought I was dead. Like, nope, you come back for like 2 lines and then you're gone for 300 episodes. And then suddenly you're in this huge arc for 50 episodes. And then you're gone again. Like, wow. Wow. Oh, anime.
And who knows with how many characters in One Piece you might get a new one.
I think I'm in the very first episode of One Piece as like a thief, thug that walks into the bar drunk and Higamura, I think his name. Yeah, I'm that guy. Then I'm King Cobra. He's coming back too. It's like, wow. And then Capone, Veggie, he had a big arc last year. It's like, wow, my guy's talking a lot. I can do my Tony Danza impression. Hey, how's it going? That was fun. The One Piece. Yeah, good times, man. Oh. Well, we've killed half an hour. What do we do now? Yes.
Has there been any cartoons that's been kind of cropping up that you've been kind of eyeing, or?
Oh, I eye everything, but I never know what's in production at any one point. I don't get to choose what I read for. So if they show, they're like, here, like I read for Batman the Caped Crusader, awesome, didn't get anything, but I still got to read for it. That's luckier than thousands of other people who don't have that opportunity. So getting the chance to be heard at an audition, worth its weight in gold. Even if they don't pick you, they may like your audition, and they may put a name next to your asterisk, and they'll listen to your future auditions on future projects. It may take months, may take years, may never happen. Who knows? But yeah, everyone at Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon, all that, Cartoon Network, they've all heard me. They haven't hired me, but they've heard me. And my agent says, don't get depressed. Don't worry, they love your stuff. Just hasn't happened yet. It's just competitive. It's just that competitive. Being in radio was competitive too. Everyone wanted to be the top morning DJ or nighttime DJ. And like, man, it's tough to do that, especially in a big market like LA. So it's number 2, New York's number 1. It's like, I don't know how radio people do it now. I don't know how voice actors do it now. All the new gen of voice actors with AI, threatening everyone's jobs, and I'd be nervous for the future. I don't know what the future really holds unless, we can make, through awareness through social media, about the dangers and the disadvantages and why AI is not all, oh my God, it's all great. Yeah, until someone misuses it. And for nefarious things, just to save money, to steal your art, voice, music, creations, to train a machine so they don't have to pay you. Kind of evil. We watch those Terminator movies and The Matrix thinking that the machines are going to take us over. No, it's worse. They take our jobs.
They don't even show up for it.
They don't even show
They
up
don't
for
even
it.
have that skin.
No. It's like, gotta worry about the robot revolution. They're just gonna make us useless. We have nothing to do all day. I would rather record and get paid for it as opposed to signing a contract where AI just does all my work for me and I can collect a paycheck. That doesn't sound fun to me. That doesn't sound gratifying. It sounds great in one respect. It's like, oh, I just collect a paycheck and do what I want. I'm like, yeah, but if you're a creator, you like the process. You like doing the thing. I don't want to like come to a con with a banner that says, I'm the last human voice of so-and-so, so-and-so. It's like, that's kind of depressing. How do AI sign autographs? You just go up to a computer terminal and scan a QR code and it just signs an autograph. Hello, I am the voice of Kyle Herbert. It's Hebert. Thank you, Kyle Herbert. I'm from Louisiana. My last name is pronounced Hebert, like a bear is attacking me. A bear, oh no! H is silent, E is like an A, T is silent. Blame the French. I don't know. If I were smart, I probably would have come up with a simple stage name like Smith. But no, silly me, you wanted to do my family proud. Now I came up with a DJ name. My DJ name was Squeege. Like a squeegee. Just go like the most inane, stupid, pointless, useless object. It's like, I can clean windshields with this. I'm like, what's the story behind that? There's really no story. I just thought it was like, you gotta come up with a DJ name that people could remember. Like, hey, Squeege. I went by all sorts of names on Radio Disney. I was Squeegetola, El Squeegerino, Squeegosaurus Rex. Also, and people enjoyed that. I had fun. I played like movie soundtracks, like sci-fi stuff, and all this stuff because I would pretend like my show is broadcasting from a spaceship called the Intergalactic Boombox. And since my audience is like 12 and under, yeah, they know it's fake, but it's still fun, right? It's theater of the mind, you know? I'm pretending I'm on a spaceship, so I'm playing Star Trek, Star Wars sound effects and movie themes and cartoon themes and stuff behind my voice as I'm talking about whatever the next giveaway is. We're giving away Beanie Babies. Yeah, those were a fad back then. We gave away the Princess Di Beanie Baby. It's worth a lot of money. We gave away some. We gave away, when Pokemon came to America, it's like 97. I thought, it'll never last. Whoops, what do I know? And then years later, I ended up voicing on it, you know. On Origins, I voiced Professor Oak. On Generations, I was Eusine. On Crasher Wake in one of the mobile games. I'm Darmanitan in Journeys. So now I've been all over that. I've been Digimon, been multiple Digimon through the years. It's crazy. Man. But I haven't been Batman yet. I want to be Batman. And since, you know, the best Batman was Kevin Conroy, rest his soul, but, you know, they went with a TV actor, and he's actually a really great actor. Forgot his name, but he plays him in the new Amazon Prime Batman animated series. It's like, okay, cool. You have to always go for a name, though. Come on, can you just hire a VO person? Please, just once. Now, like in voiceover, the rock star that all started with Funimation, and now just as soon as he got to LA, was Troy Baker. And Troy's been Batman. I think he's been the Joker. Now he's Indiana Jones in the new game. He's a great voice match for Harrison Ford. Super talented. It's like, man, I want to be Troy Baker when I grow up. Be on all these big, huge Cartoon Network shows. Or be like the cast of Futurama, or Simpsons, or Family Guy. All those guys get to record together like a cast. But anime, you have to record one actor at a time because you're matching lip sync. And when you're a DJ on the radio, you're by yourself in the studio. You might have one other person with you called a phone op, a phone operator, someone that answers the request lines for you, which is usually an intern. That's kind of what I did first at the radio format. I answered phones. I'd say, hey, can I talk to so-and-so? The DJ on the air is like, yeah, hold on, what's your name, where you from? And then I enter the name on the computer screen so they can see when they answer the phone, who's on line one. hey, John from Boston, what's up? You know, so it's kind of a cool system. And then that all worked out that way, you know, phone op to on air, to like helping the on air person, to suddenly doing the on air job, still not getting paid a lot, but having fun. And I think that's an important thing. Don't get into any career just because it's all about the money. You should do it because it makes you happy and you can pay the bills. Like the perfect work-life balance is, can you make a living doing what you love? And for many people, it takes many years to find that perfect balance. Because how many people do you know make 6 figures a year? They're a doctor or a lawyer, but they're super stressed out and they hate their life and all that. Yeah, they can afford all the fancy cars and a mansion, but they're miserable and stressed. Is it really worth all that? You can ask yourself, wouldn't you be happier just having a few things, live under a bridge as long as you enjoyed your job? You know, you had fun. Like, I love my job because I can try to entertain, even though people aren't looking at me, they hear my voice. So I can help them escape this horrible reality just for a little bit, whether it's talking, playing some songs. Like nowadays, people do live streams. People on TikTok, I do DJ streams on there. Because I'm a metal fan, I play a lot of metalcore and stuff, but I talk over the music because that's what people do on TikTok. They just play songs and talk over it. So I do that. I'll do a stream on TikTok and play like Lorna Shore or something, and I'm talking over it because people are on the chat room going, hey, do the voice, say the thing. Who put Cell in my Xbox? You know, it's like, and I'm keeping up with the chat and acknowledging them so they feel good about it. So that's fun. That's like Radio 2.0, the ability to live stream. You know, create your own content. I mean, good God, people are out there monetizing ASMR or writing your name in cursive with calligraphy pens. And people get excited by that, so they're donating money or emojis that equal, you know, oh, you made a whole quarter this hour. Okay. That's just interesting to me. The new radio. Anybody have questions, comments? You have a lot on your mind. That's good. Go for it.
So being a metal / like rock fan, do you have like any foreign bands that you like to listen to?
Foreign bands. Sweden's full of a lot of great bands. Lately I've been liking Orbit Culture. I like Opeth. Ghost is from Sweden, I think. I like Blind Guardian, you know, the symphonic metal, like Halloween. It is cheesy, you know, power metal, super cheesy. It's like super 80s, like, you just feel like big hair and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Yeah! I like all that. I like all kinds, honestly. Yes.
So it's more to like along the lines of the recycling, rebirthing like existing content. But I just had a little bit of a story. My brother had helped us find out that when they did the redub of the films for Gurren Lagann, we got to go see those this January. Definitely. It was nice to get to hear your voice again, Scott.
Yeah, the whole cast came back. Yeah, we recorded that in December, and it was in theaters in January.
That was what was going to be my question. Is it kind of sounded like you guys got to rework it. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the movies, Tony Oliver came back as a director, and the second one, Michelle Ruff, who's Yoko, she actually directed one of the movies. But yeah, everyone came back, and it was awesome, because that almost never happens. I think the only other time where we came back to redub something was Dragon Ball Z Kai. And by then, we were all better actors by then, so I think that's a superior dub to the original Z.
We weathered some blizzards that were rolling through the weekends that they were showing the films. So it It was definitely worth it.
Yeah. Me and Michelle actually went to this one screening in Burbank, you know, with our local theater basically, and we surprised everyone at the end when the credits roll. It's like, hey, you're going coming over here. Yay! We did a little video on TikTok. Let's all say, just who the hell do you think we are? So it was neat. It was neat. There's just nothing as cool as the vibe of going to a theatrical screening with fellow fans. You just can't replicate that. Even at home, just gathering with a few friends, watching on your fancy 4K TV and a Blu-ray, it's just not the same. Being in a theater and everyone's cheering together and all that, it's like, you can't replicate it. It's great.
Oh, the final fight scene was like how the audio came through and shook the whole theater.
Oh yeah. I didn't do the whole 4DX thing. I know some people did. It's like, well, that sounds like quite the experience.
It was.
Anime, shaking your chair. What is life? Did the Seiya man and Seiya girl have a question?
I just wanted to ask, I guess it's on topic of the video, working on superhero.
Working on Superhero was just like, I knew it was coming, but I didn't know how much Gohan would be involved when I found out, he's got this new form. So I thought there'd be a lot to do. There's really not a lot to do. Gohan's hardly in it, but it's still an important moment for his character. And we've been waiting ever since he got absorbed by Majin Buu. So he's been nerfed all this time. So that transformation is pretty awesome. So I'm like in this booth in Dallas at Crunchyroll headquarters, recording the movie, and less than 2 months later, it's in theaters in IMAX. So I go from seeing the footage on a monitor about 19 inches tall, and I'm doing like special beam cannon. I do like 2 takes of that. And then, suddenly it's in the theater. Crowded, sold out crowds, screaming. It's like, oh man, unreal. I got chills because I got to be the one to do that. And then it just felt great as a fan of Gohan and a fan of the show, the franchise. Unbelievable. And I wish I knew what the future held for the character now that Kira's passed on. What is Toei's plan? You know, are they ever going to bring Super back as an anime? Or are they going to finish the manga first, then do the anime? And then Daima came out of nowhere, and that's the last thing Akira Toriyama worked on before he passed away. So I'm curious to see what all that is about, although, everyone's a little kid in that, so I don't think I have any work to do. I think they're literally children, But I think Stephanie Nadolny is back as Kid Goku, so that's cool. That's really cool. I'm really happy for her that she gets to come back to that. Another full circle moment. But yeah, I just love working. I just love getting behind the mic and contributing voices to characters, whether they're named or not, whether they're big or small, whether in shows that fall by the wayside that no one, or games that no one plays. I still got to have fun and I got paid for it. So it's a win-win, I think. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Coming back to that point about it would be cool if you got to voice your version of Batman. So on the spectrum of campy Adam West to drama, gritty Kevin Conroy, what would
He'd be closer to Kevin Conroy. It's like, I am vengeance. I am a knight. I am Batman. I'd love to do that. Who wouldn't want to be Batman? But I gotta be realistic, that's not gonna happen. Another thing is I fell in love with X-Men 97 this year. What a great show. And I didn't even watch the original 90s X-Men. I just went in cold, watched this new one, and fell in love with it. So now I'm going backwards. And whenever there's time, I can remember, like, oh yeah, I need to watch more original X-Men animated. So good. So good. I want to do something for it. I don't care who. I'm not picky. I just want to be on X-Men. Somehow. I asked my agent, I said, I want to read for it. And she goes, you did? I was going, when? It's like, well, it had a code name. Because clients are very protective and they don't want it to get out. It's like, like whenever I audition for Star Wars, it always says Lucasfilm Project or Project Cucumber. some obscure name that you would never connect to Star Wars.
Harvest.
Yeah, Blue Harvest. And then you read some dialogue in the audition and you go, oh, this is totally Star Wars. They're talking about the Force and all that. All right, your character is Billy Smith. And then suddenly the dialogue is like that. The Force is very like, oh, okay. I see what's going on here. Fun times. Anyone else?
In regards to Dragon Ball Z, like as a whole, do you have a personal preference over like the Japanese like original like background music versus like the Bruce Faulconer music?
Oh, Bruce Faulconer music? I get why they didn't want to use the original score because it does sound really dated. It sounds older than it actually is. But I mean, if you like the cheesy stuff with all the trumpets and the horns, like, it's like, it's fun. And at the time, when we were doing that with Bruce Faulconer score, people hated on that score. But nowadays, they change their tunes like, I'm just a Bruce Faulconer score. Where were you then? You guys used to hate on it hardcore. Like all the fan sites for Dragon Ball Z, they were brutal against the Funimation dub. It's like, oh, it's terrible, they censor everything. It's like, well, there are standards. We are beholden to the government, the FCC, that have strict rules regarding broadcasting to children. Cartoon Network is for children until Adult Swim came along. But then, yeah, strict rules. You can't have a lot of blood. Dragon Ball Z is not a kid show. They had to edit it down to make it a kid show. Change the language. It's like, this is Mr. Satan. It's like, you're really gonna call him Hail Satan? No, we're gonna call him Hercule. I'm like, what? Where do you get Hercule? Did someone lose a bet? Crazy. It's over 9,000! Like, why didn't you change it? It's originally 8,000. It doesn't have any less mouth flaps to fill. So strange. I don't understand all of the choices they made, but I do understand that Toei wanted to get that show on broadcast television to children because that was their biggest demographic. And same thing with One Piece. The original dub of One Piece, done by 4Kids in New York, was edited and torn apart. Not because 4Kids is evil, but because there's strict rules for broadcast. And again, Toei, the ones that own One Piece too, I mean, they're just like, we'll do whatever it takes. You gotta change a cigarette to a lollipop? Do it. So a lot of people's anger were misguided and misdirected. It's like you blaming the actors for like, oh, you ruined the show. Like, no, I did my job. They directed me to sound that way. So I did. And the show was edited because it had to be. And then when they put out Yu-Gi-Oh, they put out a couple volumes of Yu-Gi-Oh unrated, uncut. No one bought it. And they were addressing the fans' concerns. It's like, put it out uncut. And then no one bought it. It's like, because back then, piracy was such a huge deal. Everyone was just torrenting everything. Crunchyroll back then was the #1 piracy site. Now it's the #1 legit site. Crazy, right? But everyone was just like bootlegging everything. It's like, you'd have the numbers showing the fandom was there, but then the DVD sales weren't there, except for like Dragon Ball. But basically, I see why studios went under, or they had to do budget cuts. And then, eventually Japan kind of came around and understood the internet's never going to go away. You're never going to be able to totally eliminate piracy. So I think, through some persuasion, we've gotten to where it's now almost simultaneously released. English, Japanese. The new Bleach or Blue Exorcist, only a few weeks behind the Japanese one. That's better than years ago. Naruto took 5 years to come to screen. Dragon Ball took over 10. Because golly, Dragon Ball GT ended in '96. So Hi, y'all here for your next panel?
Yeah, take your time. We're setting up.
Oh, okay. They're setting up, but I'm done anyway. I'm just yakking. But cool. Any other questions before we wrap? Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it very, very much. I got to go do some signings for a charity thing, and then I'm going to hop back down to my table at 5:30. So if you guys want to come by, say hi, fist bump, whatever, I have autograph prints or take a selfie, please stop by. And if not, that's totally fine. If you just want to say hi, totally fine. I appreciate the support either way. Thanks for coming to the panels. Thanks for coming to Nebraskon. And hopefully we'll see you later.